Good afternoon. I'm Angelo Castro III. Here are the latest stories at this hour. The arraignment and pre-trial of Senator Jingoy Estrada's graft case is set for this afternoon. For details, we have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, what time will the proceedings begin and sino bang expected natin makita in court today?
Yes, Diego, we are expecting for the arraignment and pre-trial of Senator Jingoy Estrada to start at 1:30 p.m. This afternoon. That is the arrest warrant for Estrada on the cases or charges of plunder and graft in connection with the flood control scandal of the government. We are also expecting today, Diego, former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan, who was rushed to PNP hospital after high blood pressure after yesterday's arrest, and of course their fellow co-accused who are the former officials of the DPWH and CR.
Arles, with regards sa pre-trial, ma-expect ba natin na yung mga motions and pleas i-raise dito or hindi pa?
Well, actually, Diego, we are also we are expecting that will be the focus of today's arraignment or schedule at the 5th Division of Sandigan Bayan. But aside from that, actually, Diego, we're thinking of a possibility for the arraignment to be moved as on legal processes. Accused or the defendants will usually ask for the court to resolve or have resolutions on the motions that they have filed before the arraignment will be held or done, and then the defenders will also file for a plea bargain whether they are going to file guilty or not guilty plea.
Arles, this is for yung yung graft case or kasama yung plunder dito?
That's for the two cases, Diego, for the plunder and graft case. The 5th Division of Sandigan Bayan handles.
And ito, para klaruhin lang natin for the benefit of our viewers, everyone will be there na indicted sa case, kasama si DPWH, former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan, saka ibang taga Bulacan, mga former district engineers.
Yes, that is correct, Diego. So it will be, we are expecting today Senator Jingoy Estrada, former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan, and their co-accused, namely the former DPWH NCR officials.
Arles, I remember a few weeks ago, nag-usap tayo about the case of former Senator Bong Revilla, and nag-bail petition sila for plunder, which is non-bailable pero sumubok sila. Do you see any indications na tatry din nila Senator Jingoy Estrada petition for bail kahit non-available ang plunder?
Well, Diego, for now, the way we look at it, it is hard to preempt whether Estrada's camp will file for a petition for bail because their motions are very much telling of what might come out of the charges against him. Because for the three motions...
Arles, nawawala ka, Arles. Arles, we're having technical difficulties with Arles, but hopefully we'll get back to him later on. But for now, thank you very much, mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Now, yesterday was a busy day of diplomatic affairs for President Bongbong Marcos. But no news from the palace is complete without a mention of Vice President Sara Duterte. This report from mobile journalist Julie Baiza.
On Monday morning, the 1st of June, President Bongbong Marcos reported that he had a productive phone call with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He said they discussed regional economic and trade priorities, reaffirming the commitment of Manila and Washington to further strengthen their alliance. He said the exchange also highlighted shared regional interest between the two countries. Also on the first day of the new month, Malacanang also welcomed Vietnamese President To Lam. Both countries have agreed to upgrade their relations to an enhanced strategic partnership. President Marcos said peace and stability in the South China Sea remain, quote, non-negotiable. He also said the Philippines and Vietnam share a common interest in maintaining peace, stability, and a rules-based order in the region. Then, There's commitment for the peaceful resolution of maritime disputes based on international law, including the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and the 2016 arbitral ruling. For his part, Lam said Manila is an important regional partner of Hanoi, citing a similar vision and strategic interest. Before his diplomatic stints, President Marcos also spoke to Bloomberg Television, where he admitted to having no regrets running alongside Vice President Sara Duterte in the 2022 elections. The Marcos Duterte ticket won by a landslide 4 years ago.
No, I don't think so. I think it was, I think for the time that that was the best thing that we would do. We had the same idea of what needed to be done in government. Maybe that's changed, but if you look at it in the context of that period, I think that was the right thing to do still.
However, he also raised concern over another Duterte presidency.
Yes, very much. That is a great worry for me because we have just started, and these are big things that we are trying to do. We're changing the whole way that we govern. We are trying to reform the bureaucracy. These things don't get done instantly, and it's very, very easy to go off the rails.
In a seeming reaction to the president's interview, Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte questioned Marcos's legacy, saying Filipinos should be able to point to clear, tangible accomplishments beyond slogans and photo opportunities. He also challenged Marcos to identify the administration's achievements that have directly benefited ordinary Filipinos. The lawmaker likewise stressed PBBM would not have won if it were not for his sister, something the palace press officer rebutted. Undersecretary Claire Castro said the differences between the president and the vice president are much more pronounced now. She underscored the fact that the chief executive fought for the country's right over the West Philippine Sea and that he continuously worked and very rarely went on vacation. Castro went on, President Marcos held to account those being tagged in the multi-billion peso flood control scandal, and he never threatened anyone nor pulled other people's reputations down.
Mas maganda po sana manood siya ng press briefing, mga news, mainstream, state-owned media. Lumalabas po kasi na hindi siya updated, hindi nagbabasa, hindi nanonood ng news. Nakakaawa naman. Nabubuhay sa dilim, nabubuhay sa fake news, nabubuhay sa sariling imahinasyon.
Yuse Castro circled back to the Vice President who just celebrated her 48th birthday on May 31st.
Siya po ay ating babatiin at gagayahin ko po ang kanyang pagbati ng maligayang kaarawan. So naghanda po tayo ng isang mensahe para kay VP Sara. Happy birthday, VP Sara.
A closer look at the DIY birthday card, an offshoot to the VP's earlier greeting to her alleged bagman, Ramil Madriaga, reeks of sarcasm. But for Castro, this is better than no greeting at all.
Mula sa PCO po, natatandaan po natin nung nakaraang Pasko ay binanggit niya na hindi niya babatian ang Pangulo sa kanyang ng maligayang Pasko dahil hindi daw niya alam kung magbabago ang attitude kung babatiin niya ng maligayang Pasko. Pero hindi po tayo ganyan.
Kapatid Mobile Journal Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
All right, what you're seeing right now is the convoy of Senator Jingoy Estrada on his way to the Sandigan Bayan for his pre-trial hearing, which we discussed a while ago with our mobile journal, Arles de los Santos. And in that hearing, it is expected that several motions that were filed initially by the camp of Senator Jingoy Estrada will be tackled and all the pleadings will be put aside before they proceed to trial. So again, this is Senator Jingoy Estrada's convoy on his way to the Sandigan Bayan for his hearing on his plunder and graft cases. And the second live image that you are seeing is that of the PNP, well, I think this is the perimeter of the PNP Custodial Center or the General Hospital, where former Secretary Manny Bonoan is after he suffered a high blood pressure attack. According to yesterday, the ILG Secretary Remulla said his blood pressure shot up during, during the arrest or during the processing of this case. And right now, you see all the policemen, uniformed personnel outside the perimeter of the hospital. We have yet to ascertain or confirm whether he will be transferred anytime soon to the new Quezon City Jail at Payatas. Now, in other news, Senator Ping Lacson says the majority bloc's failure to attend Monday's plenary session was an attempt to hold legislation hostage. That's following the arrest of Senator Jingoy Estrada. In a statement, Lacson said the move was not a stand for Senate independence, but a dereliction of duty. Yesterday, Lacson turned 78, and his birthday wish was for the Senate to, quote, recover what is left of its integrity, dignity, and reputation, unquote. Earlier, Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano urged the minority bloc to take a stand for the chamber's independence as the majority boycotted the session on June 1st. Meantime, Senator Raffy Tulfo said the minority bloc was left hanging yesterday without air conditioning and internet access.
Hindi namin alam na hindi sila sisipot ngayong araw na to. All we know ay sasama lang nila si Jingoy bilang sympathy, whatever, and then babalik din sila come 5 o'clock. Nagantay kami after more than an hour, all of a sudden, biglang uminit, nagpapaypay na si Senrisa, and then lahat kami, nainitan na. Yung pala, pinatayan kami. And then, gusto namin gamitin yung internet, pinatayan na rin, wala na rin. So pumunta yung ilan sa amin sa CR, wala na rin, mainit na rin. Gusto namin magtrabaho. Kami ay niluklok sa aming pwesto sa Senado para magtrabaho, para dito gawin lahat ng trabaho namin. Kaso, yung majority, mukhang meron natin sila ibang agenda.
Now, if Tulfo's claims were true, political scientist Antonio Contreras said the act was childish. He recalls a time when Cayetano did a similar stint when he was still a congressman.
If that's true, that's so petty, so childish. So I don't want to say this because it's not yet confirmed. Kung totoo yan, parang it gives you memory of what happened when Lord Velasco was about to take over the speakership from Alan, and then Alan padlock the house. So parang ganun na strategy eh. And the act of the majority of not appearing today is simply like first time in the history of the Senate.
At this point, we also give you a quick look at stories from our media partners. On the Philippine Star, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla said the Senate lost its claimed protection from immediate arrests after it let Senator Bato de la Rosa leave its premises. Yesterday, Remulla and SP Alan Peter Cayetano were seen arguing over the arrest of Senator Jingoy Estrada for plunder. Senator Estrada later turned himself into the CIDG headquarters. But for Malacanang, it was not a surrender, but an arrest. On Business World, S&P Global says Philippine manufacturing is on a modest return to growth. Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, rose to 50.8 in May from 48.3 in April. But economists say that the rebound indicates resilience rather than a full manufacturing recovery. Stronger domestic demand boosted output and new orders, but fuel and raw material costs rose with Middle East-related supply disruptions. This resulted in jobs lost and firms relying on existing inventories. Now, for more details of these stories, you can visit the social media pages of the Philippine Star and Business World. Do check out as well the social media platforms of One News PH for the very latest news. Join us again at 2 p.m. for the very latest stories. I'm Angelo Castro III. Stay tuned to One News.